Hello, guys, and good evening. This is a very dark one tonight, and only because it's very serious in terms of the future of humanity and the future of life on this planet. Now, you guys know me. I don't jump on conspiracy bandwagons. Yes, I do see things like 5G, and it concerns me, and that's quite rightly. There's things like pollution in the oceans, which I wish would get more notoriety and public consciousness, and so on. And there's many things out there that do bother me, but I don't particularly think that they're overwhelmingly terrifying. If you're going to share and distribute one video of mine, even if you've never done it before, make it this one, okay? This one is truly worrying. Firstly, because it's probably, again, with transhumanism and everything, and people like Dr. Graham Dowling, I've seen him talk at the AV things, has done great work on this, but there's something even more terrifying on the horizon that perhaps, maybe other people have heard about it, but I never heard about it until I was in Providence recently, and a scientist basically blurted it out. Now, we're dealing with life, and not just human life, but implications involving biological life on this planet. To this day, there's no scientist can tell you what life is. They just don't know. They can state, we heard, we all go over the story of the amino acids and the proteins in the primordial soup, and a lightning bolt flashed from the heavens and created Darwin's life. That we know that's nonsense, even though it's been always put about. They can tell you what life is, but they can't tell you how life comes about. For instance, all the necessary materials needed for building life are in most protein shakes that you get in the health food store for bodybuilders. But that's not alive. But it's all in there. There's no difference between that and you. There's proteins, carbohydrates, amino acids, fats, minerals, enzymes. It's all there. You're alive, it's not. They cannot tell you why that's not alive and you are. And that's okay. That's one of the mysteries to be discovered. But they do know a lot about the functioning of life at the genetic level. Now, before any of you start saying things like Sheridan is anti-science, I absolutely adore science. And I'm afraid of the future. No, I'm not. And that I'm afraid of new discoveries in science. No, I'm cautious of anything that could probably damage this planet and damage human life. And this is what this is, okay? The link below appeared in 2014 as a paper you can download and buy on the highly peer-reviewed and highly respected site Nature. Now, what was weird about this thing is the lab where this took place is unnamed, and it wasn't the scientists involved who put their name on the publicizing of this theory, but a scientist who read the paper. So that's very unusual. The synopsis was delivered not by the scientific team, but by someone who didn't work on it. Now, considering this happened in 2004, this should be the biggest news story in the world. And quite possibly is the greatest scientific discovery of all time. How come you don't know about it? I don't know about it. Most of this planet doesn't know about it. Your cat doesn't know about it. Your budgie doesn't know about it. Your mother doesn't know about it. But yet, when I tell you what this is about, you will be astounded that you never heard this, especially considering it was released in 2014. And the link will be below, and I suggest you share this video far and wide and get this out there, because there's a reason why they're playing this down. All life, okay, let me talk what they did. All life on this planet encodes genetic info using two pairs of DNA letters. That's the AT sequence and the CG sequence, okay? And that's it. We've had that since, as far as we know, since life evolved on this planet. Whether it was by some electromagnetic interference upon a chemical reaction or panspermia where a comet brought life in. But two pairs of DNA letters. What have I told you? In 2014, this unnamed lab in California created a new pair called X and Y. Now you say to yourself, well, what does that mean? Because there's new pairs, because there's a new pair of genes in the sequence, right? This allows organisms that can be upgraded. Now, for instance, amino acids build from 20 proteins, right? 20 amino acids that was building from proteins, right? That's jumped because of the discovery of this X and Y sequence. Now, all the science people are going to jump in and say, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do know this is massive, okay? Because of this new base pair X and Y, this jumps up to 172 amino acids to build from proteins. So the first thing they did was they started to experiment with life, because they had this extra gene sequence to play with. And what I could gather is they took an E. coli bacteria and they made it glow in the dark by modifying this gene sequence. They essentially created a new form of life. This lab in California, now they were not given the Nobel Prize, I don't think, you think they would be, was created for excuse me, the first new form of life on this planet since the beginning. Now, they tell us that what was remarkable is that the structure and the integration of the genetic coding of this new life was beautiful. It was perfect. It functioned amazingly. So much so that they had to encode a lifespan into the genes, otherwise it probably would have lived forever. So not only have they created a new gene sequence that allows to, should we say, expand life on this planet for the first time since the creation of the planet, but apparently it's immortal. Because of all these gene sequences, it can build a genetic code to make it immortal. Why aren't we be told this? So basically, there's labs right now that we're not being told about who are adding these new X and Y gene sequences to all kinds of organisms that potentially could turn into anything. This is the Lovecraftian beastie stuff of terror, of nightmares. We're not being told what the governmental constraints are on it. Does the military have this? You bet their bottom dollar they do. And they're involved in something that is, it's just amazing. It'd be like the discovery of DNA in the past and you not being told about it. It's even bigger than that. What they discovered is that they've created a new form of life. And they have so far, they tell us, built in terminated genes to actually kill the thing, to kill itself after a while. What if there's enough gene sequences and these 172 amino acids to build or bypass that if they create, say, an E. coli virus or some other kind of virus, because they're the easiest ones to work with, that runs out of control? Oh look, we can't stop it. This is like 72 hours later. This is really worrying. And again, we're not being told. This should be the biggest news in the world. They have us worried about the climate. You might, in the conspiratorial things, you might get 5G. You might get things about CERN. You might get things about, I don't know, chemical problems in the environment. They don't tell us about this one. And yet to me, this is the most terrifying one of all. Read the article down below. It will explain it better than my layman, very bad layman way of describing it. But what they're basically building are new life forms that are not only capable of being eternal in terms of living forever, but also have unlimited evolutionary potentials. In fact, not only unlimited, but incredibly vast beyond our comprehension. Are they planning things like to make human beings that have skin that, I don't know, glows in the dark? Anything. I mean, this is not good, and they're hiding it from us. And this is I'm not saying a conspiracy theory because they don't hide it, but they certainly haven't given it enough publicity. If you heard about this, and I'm going to get lots of straight-laced people down below when I read about this, but I tell you, I've spoken with a load of people about it, including some medical people, and they never heard about it. So if there's one video of mine that you're going to share this one. And I can tell them to read the article below and even research this further, because I got news for you. This is bigger than anything. Bigger than anything.